In which case, I am doubly grateful that you're here, that you're going to spend some of your very valuable time with me. Now, to prevent me from getting copyright strikes on this video, I'm not going to play it on the stream, but I am going to paste a YouTube link in the chat. There it is. Go ahead and click on it and spend the next 3 minutes listening to Rolling Stones' Start Me Up, which 30 years ago today, which was being played all over the place for the retail launch of Windows 95. And in today's Sunday night retro live stream, we're going to reload this ThinkPad 390E with Windows 95 and some Windows 95 software. Of course, typical for the channel, even when trying to test some things and get some things ready for the live stream, experiencing some technical difficulties. For example, can't find the CD media to make CDs, was only able to find a rewritable, not even sure if a rewritable is going to work in the DVD-ROM drive, which was a rare official option for the 390E at the time, 1998, 1999, right? So right now we're just waiting for that ISO to burn. And one of the things, of course, I'm not being a purist here, is that the CD that I'm making to reinstall Windows on is the 95 OSR 2.5 release with Plus, and that's because the hard drive in this laptop is 80 gigs, and I suppose I could only make one 2 gigabyte partition, but what a pain. So we'll just make a single 80 gig plus partition or whatever it is. As soon as it finishes burning. Almost 3/4 the way through. If you're joining us a little bit after start time, while we're waiting, if you want something fun to listen to, I posted a link in the stream chat for the Rolling Stones' Start Me Up. And of course, I'll listen to it here in the garage after the stream is over, so don't get dinged with a copyright strike. If you were a beta tester for Windows 95, post in the comments below, or if you're live, go ahead and chat. Now, some useless trivia. The CDs that were shipped with computers were usually OEM. Some of them did not automatically boot unless the OEM made a special CD. Usually upgrades came on floppy disk, like almost 30 disks for the installer that was for PCs without Windows, and 15 or so, give or take, disks for upgrades from a previous version. And there were no floppy boot disks unless they came from the OEM, and this just happens to be a generic OEM boot disk for Windows 95 that includes several optical drive drivers. Of course, moment of truth. Wow. Oh, that is impressive. Impressive. Okay, do we have F-Disk? We have F-Disk. So how about it? Why don't we go through the whole experience? We're going to check F-Disk out. Now, if this was RTM, the original flavor of Windows 95, you would not get this message because it only supported FAT16, which had a maximum partition size of 2 gigabytes. So for this, we will say enable large disk support, display the partition. There is our, it's bigger than that, it's bigger than 10 gigs, but that's what this version sees it as. So we're going to delete the partition, delete primary, yes. Oh, forgot how long this takes. Although that verifying drive integrity is going a lot faster than it usually goes for large drives. Okay, of course. I'm going to make it verify again. Then it'll make us reboot, we'll format it, and then we'll do the install. We'll find one of those nefarious serial numbers. All right, we're gonna Control Alt Delete to restart. Okay, format CQU with the system. Quick, unconditional with the system. Of course, it's going to tell us can't do it quick because we just repartitioned it, and that'll be okay. Maybe it is only a 10 gig drive, but I don't remember it being so small. I know for sure that when Windows is loaded, it will get the correct drive dimensions. Hope, apologize. Hope you have the music on loop. So let's talk about the specs. When I went to college, which was a 2 year applied science school, technology and agriculture, it was the first in the state system that had made a partnership with IBM to have what was called the ThinkPad University, where depending on your program, you would be given a ThinkPad laptop. I was the second year into this program, and the laptops that were picked were the ThinkPad 390Es, and you had the choice of getting the standard edition or the gold. And the only difference was how much RAM. If you chose standard, you got 64 megabytes of RAM, and if you chose gold, you got 128. This machine is not the same submodel type. We were issued 2626 COUs, which had a 12.1 inch 800 by 600 screen, Neo Magic 2.5 meg video RAM. There was no 3D acceleration, which was kind of a bummer for those of us who were just getting into gaming at the time. And it wasn't until quite a few years later that the college ended up getting ThinkPads that had some sort of 3D accelerator on them. So here is the order of the stream going forward. We're going to finish formatting. We're going to install. Depending on how many drivers get self installed, then we're going to install Plus, pack, and then we're gonna do Microsoft Works for Windows 95. Then we're gonna do Microsoft Office for Windows 95, and then we're gonna do Lotus Smart Suite for Windows 95. And those are the software packages that initially dealt with when Windows 95 came out and in college. Although in college we were using Windows 98 and 98 second edition, but in 3 years we'll do the 30th anniversary of that release. I really did not remember the format being this slow. For the after the live stream, we'll end up tweaking the video to put in the timestamp of where you can shoot right past this. If you want to talk about Windows 95 or any other retro check, go ahead and fill out some comments in the chat. Sorry, or go ahead and chat in the chat box. So to the right, I've got a Windows XP machine and an old Dell Latitude that I'm making the driver 3.5 inch floppies on because can't easily make floppies on a modern 64-bit Windows anything machine. If you're just joining us, I posted the link for Rolling Stones Start Me Up in the chat. Give it a listen while we're waiting. Suppose we were talking about large hard drives and incorrect drive parameters. So it says, 107856 megabytes, but I really think this is an 80 gig drive that's in here. Let's see. Okay. Start downloading and making the driver discs. I'll grab some 3.5-inch disk drives or discs. And the first disc we're going to make only because they don't have operating system categories on the driver downloads anymore. You've got to go through and read every single time. Okay. I'm pretty sure the install process is going to go a lot faster than this is. Hopefully. Okay, disk formatted, and now I gotta copy all the files over. Not a big deal. Control send to. Oh, the things we take for granted these days, huh? I'm just thinking, boy, an SSD, just right click, you could say format, even if you say unconditional, it does it just like that. Seconds to minutes, not minutes to hours. disk and the destination drive is full. Really? Oh, okay. Okay, I get it now. I've got to copy the downloaded file owner. Okay, that's a bummer. Um, Too big for 1.44 meg floppy. Okay. We'll have to split it up into a couple copies. So while we're waiting for this to format, we're thinking about future videos that we're going to be doing based off of the last one. The last video that we did before recording this 30th anniversary of Windows 95 was some auction stuff that we got from Texas, and in that auction stuff was OS2 Warp 4, which came out in 1996, September 1996. So, were you a Microsoft person? Were you a Linux person? Were you a Mac or OS2 person? If you were an OS2 person, like what did you think, compared to Windows 95? Okay. Almost there. Three-quarters of the way. Formatting, then we'll do the setup. Holy smokes. I know these old style formats sometimes feel. I don't know what they feel actually. Huh. Yeah. Note to self: partition and format the drive before you do the live stream. I don't think there's thermal paste on this 390E. Yeah, pretty sure I've got to really break the computer down to redo it. But I'm sure it could benefit from it. Quiet time with Windows 95. I know. When are we going to get to the fun stuff? The fun stuff. I suppose maybe the Latitude D600 should have its thermal paste redone. Yeah, probably do that. Do a video on that later on. Oh. Oh boy, calculating free space. And we're just going to say oh, so it is. It really is the 80 gig drive, and that's why it took so long to format. Okay. We are not going to be doing a surface scan, that's for damn sure. So the clicking that you're hearing is actually the DVD-ROM drive. Alt, yes. And yes, of course, there's no network card. Only got the modem in here, so we're not going to be able to do a whole lot internet-wise. And we're going to do custom and figure we've got enough space on here. Let's see. Legacy media and computers, and even more legacy media and computers. Sure. There is no network adapter, but there is sound. Just looking for. I wonder if it's under display. Display and video graphics. Video driver. Video driver. Windows 95. Where are you? Wow, okay. Okay, we're going to go through and we're going to put everything. This tools. Yep. Okay. We're going to have to leave IPX because some of the games we might want to run on here are. That'll be after we install a PC network card, Microsoft, TCP IP. Well, right now we can say Windows logon. Next. Okay, computer name. Okay, go for it. We're not going to do a startup disk. I already got one. Thank you very much. Well, video is certainly small enough where it will fit onto a single floppy. We'll say one thing, it certainly installs faster than partitioning and formatting it did. The different GUI shells for for Linux, fall into the category for me in terms of I don't find it to be more intuitive, even though the Linux shells all seem to be the same across the board. Like young people or younger people who have only been using mobile operating systems might use a desktop computer operating system and be like, what is this? This is not intuitive at all. Whereas if you were to have taken them and dropped them 30 years ago, they would be like, oh, yep, I use Windows or Mac, and the phone isn't intuitive. Finished. Great. Okay, we ejected the boot disk. I mean, ThinkPads are still ThinkPads, but back when it was IBM ThinkPad. And I'll tell you what, I feel young singing that, seeing this, getting ready to run Windows 95 for the first time screen. And we're going to escape. Oh, this might be a problem. Yeah. Yep. So now I remember when you were doing manual installations, the often said you'd be better off copying all the installation files to the hard disk because sometimes the CD-ROM driver did not load, and the setup would not be able to find them on the optical disc. And we're not Pacific. LMC is on Eastern Time. Yes, we have. And we're going to cancel. Thank you. We're also going to cancel the printer. We'll restart one more time. And of course, this is part of. So, Windows 95 did not originally come with a web browser. It wasn't until maybe 6 months to a year later where they released the Internet Pack, which included. We're just going to leave this at current. It started with Internet Explorer. Came with Internet Explorer 1, and then slowly worked its way up to 3, and then this is going to install, IE4. Let's install the graphics driver so we can get the proper color depth and resolution that we want. Well, you're going to make me You're gonna make us do this the hard way. Okay. So settings, advanced properties, change, have disk. Yep. New magic. There it is. And hopefully it doesn't crash. And then it's going to make us restart. No. Yes. And the other very important thing is. Okay, on this side. Settings. 1024 by 768 and apply. And now it's the proper resolution. Let's go ahead and we'll give it a temporary course. Windows 98, you were able to stretch it, but that's okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to copy the sound drivers over. Oh my. Okay. Cancel. Um, Alright, let's do 6 files at a time. Okay. Computer's over now. Okay. View options. Yep, show everything. Okay, and then what's left of the sound files, we'll paste over there. Disk and the destination. Nice. Really? Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Looks like the audio files would take up 3 floppy disks. Holy smokes. All right. View list setup. Okay, there is something wrong there. Excuse me. Okay, so those are not the right sound drivers, apparently. Okay. Audio driver for DOS, OS2, OS2 Warp, Windows 3.1. Auto features package. Really? Well, we'll try a different one. And what we're going to do is we're going to change the advanced properties, monitor, change. And this is a ThinkPad 1024 by 768 panel. Apply. And cool, it doesn't make me restart. And this whole thing is big enough to fit on that floppy disk. We'll try different audio setup now. Okay. This is more like it. Now we should be able to hear some sound. Of course, once you install the sound drivers, it sets all of the mixer sliders to halfway. This computer actually has a physical volume knob on the right hand side. So if we now go to one of my favorite sound themes for Windows 95 was Utopia. And I think it's Start Windows, right? Hopefully you can hear it. I know these speakers aren't blown out, but that does seem a little... Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to install is we're going to install Windows 95 Plus. Let's see, will it take the same one? 3, 1. So one of the features that came with Plus, we'll go through them all here. So Drive Space 3, which for non-FAT32 drives, you could compress the drive and get more hard drive space out of it. Drive Space 3 cannot compress FAT32 drives, so when OSR 2.5 release of Windows 95 came out and hard drives got bigger, this part of Plus really wasn't that useful anymore. Other updates, this one gives you Microsoft Network, Internet, and the Mail, which has been superseded by Internet Explorer 4, which actually did not get installed on here. The desktop themes is what I'm after. Dial-up networking server, which pretty not useful anymore, and some other visual enhancements, which will show you how to do those. And after this gets installed, we'll get ready to do the next piece of software, which will be Microsoft Works for Windows 95. Of course, show you some of my favorite themes. The Windows 95 theme. I don't know. It just seems like you really can't have this sort of customization with modern computers. And the other one that I used to really enjoy, especially when we had CRT monitors inside your computer. We'll leave it Windows 90, more Windows for now. And okay. And we'll restart. Oh. Okay, we'll erase our disk and we'll. Well, I can't show you now because I just overwrote the disk, but the CD-ROM version of Windows 95 included some very cool extras, some videos, including a preview for the movie Rob Roy with Jessica Lange and Liam Neeson, some music videos, one Weezer and Good Times, Bad Times, and a video game called Hover, kind of like a bumper car version. So, what's left? We're almost an hour and a half in, and we have Microsoft Works for Windows 95, Microsoft Office for Windows 95, and then IBM's own Lotus Smart Suite for Windows 95. Oh, yes. I forgot. Out here in the garage, I do got some critters up in the rafters. Certainly takes a while to verify CDs. So this version came with also Microsoft Money 97, but we're only looking at the Windows 95 apps and Lotus Smart Suite. Just reading about the online services that were available at the time. Not for Works, but for the Money add on. And I'm like, of course, those are no longer available. Okay. Whoops. Do I have it? Is it snapped on? Okay. Well, of course, I'm wondering if we burn a CD, a rewritable CD that has never been written before, the first time it's written to works fine. But if you try to rewrite the disc every time it tries to write it after or read it after, it won't read. So let me see if I can find some media. Otherwise, that's really going to crimp our 30th anniversary Windows 95 live stream. Mm. It just might. Yeah. try to do is I've got some blank DVD-R media. Can try to write that. If that doesn't work, well, one thing we can try out while we're waiting for this to burn, because there's often a lot of discussion about it. You know, properties. There's some. Well, this is what would have stretched the setup wallpaper, and show icon smooth edges. Like all that cool stuff is turned on. Okay. Let's look at and 3D pinball. Dave Plummer, where art thou? I don't remember the. Let's find out what the keys are. Oh, Z and question mark. Okay. Damn it. Okay, let's get serious about this. Disk burning almost done. Another classic Windows 95 laptop that we have here in the library is the 7070X, but it has either malfunctioning inverter or broken, well, not broken. Well, I guess broken, they don't work. Fluorescent tubes in the 770. So that's why we're not using that. Believe me, would love to. Um, okay, so it says it's been successfully burned to disk. Let's see. Nope, that doesn't sound like it's doing it. Nope, which is okay. The DVD media that I'm burning to will not be limited to the slow speed that the rewritable was. Okay. I'm hoping this drive did not die in the middle of our live stream. Oh, I've got a bad feeling. Oh no. Ah. Well, well, here's how we'll rule that out for sure. We will get some actual media. Oh, that I know works. It hasn't been burned, or at least is a single use media. Well, I don't have it. So, unfortunately, we're going to have to cut it short. But we'll pick up in the next video installing that other Windows 95 software. Actually, one thing we could do is let's check and see if this works. This Brother P-Touch label maker, which we use to label the video RCA video disc that we also have in the library. It's pushing 30 years old. It still works. Just goes to show that some stuff does last. And that disc is reading correctly. I'm just guessing the drive does not like burnable DVDs or CD-RWs that have been written to more than once. So we will shut down and conclude the live stream. And to finish, if you haven't listened to it already, in the chat box, click on the link to the Rolling Stones Start Me Up video on YouTube. Thanks for watching. If you like this sort of content, please like and subscribe. If you would like to contribute to the preservation of all sorts of personal computing, hardware, software, and media, consider becoming a Patreon. The link is in the video description. And see you in the next video.